problem was he also was like top 5 or 10 in, guys who were throwing uncatchable balls.
Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Well, other than the puddle of dog piss in my 4-year, I'm doing great.
I came home to it last night, but there was also a pile right next to it because Mindy's out of town. I'm like, I don't have a sense of smell. Very, very faint. I walked in. I'm like,
you don't have a good sense for football either.
I'm like,
never mind.
Oh, what a shot.
I'm not going to. You gave me an opening, and I'm not going to take it.
You know what? I'm Tom in Long Grove, not Mark in Buffalo Grove today.
I came in, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, God.
Yeah. My dog's 16, and I think my wife and daughter left to go somewhere, and my dog thought they were still here. So when she gets upset, she barks quite a bit and then relieves herself wherever she's at. So she's over 100 years old in people, age.
Yep,
So.
I had a 16-year-old. Yep, they're getting
I'm getting
old.
her to 22, guys. That's my only goal in life right now is to get my beloved dog to 20.
Best story I've ever heard Waddle tell was they made pasta. And they had a big bowl of pasta sitting on the counter with the sauce in it. And they ran out of the room for whatever reason, Tommy and the girls. He comes back down, and he sees the dog and thinks the dog's been shot. Remember?
Yeah.
Dog ate the entire bowl of pasta.
Not sure who would have shot her because it was just us in the house.
Right. But he comes down, the dog's covered in tomato sauce.
Yeah, this dog's been something else. Love her dearly, Jonathan, but she has.
What's her name? Lola?
Me. Lola.
Yeah.
Yeah. All good.
Crazy.
Could have been a backfiring from the old shotgun you have over the over the fireplace. That happens at the Waddle household,
You're right,
doesn't it?
Safety's never on in this house.
So
Just in case.
The Athletic has a poll out, a Athletics 2025 Bears fan survey. I think you and Peggy might go over this afternoon, but I just want to give you a little sample, okay? I want to ask you this. And I know this is going to be great for you because, it's multiple choice.
Yeah, that's
So-
my type of test.
So you got, half a chance here. What was GM Ryan Pohl's best offensive player acquisition? And they have a list of Tooney, Jonah Jackson, Grady Jarrett, Drew Dahlman, or Colston Loveland.
I'm gonna say Drew Dahlman. I have a huge passion for securing the center position.
I like that. That's a good answer.
Joe Tooney is one that I think a lot of people would just reflex. You'd check that because you can argue he's the most talented player regardless of position on the team. He's the most accomplished on that front. But I think that bringing in Drew Dahlman,
They got an anchor.
Yeah, I said it last year. That was one of the things. There were a lot that worried me. I overlooked it and predicted they would still win 10 games. I'm an idiot. But one of the things I was worried about was a rookie quarterback behind a less than secure interior offensive line. They fixed that this year.
There's another one here, guys. Which position concerns you most? And they have a litany of positions, obviously.
Pass rusher.
So it has defensive end, defensive tackle. So it's one of those two?
Defensive end, yeah.
Defensive
I just don't. Yeah, who's their left tackle going to be is something that is a big question for me as well. But where's the pass rush coming from the other side of Montez Sweat? And are you going to get the Montez Sweat you saw in 2023, the last half of the season? Are you going to get 2024 Montez Sweat, who I think was probably a little more banged up than people think? But pass rush, guys, Shea's the one that the stat, I don't know I can't recite it exactly, but it's the one that keeps me up at night when I'm thinking about football was their lack of consistent pressure from anybody.
Do you look at
Shay,
a
you
guy
got
like
Shay, you got that number?
It's memorized. None of the Bears' defensive players ranked in the top 40 in pressures last year.
That stings.
That's it.
That stings.
Tommy? We heard that Zadarius Smith was in town over the weekend. Albert Breer said he just threw his name out as he's hearing that maybe the Bears would have some interest, but he wasn't like breaking news here, and that's obviously a solid player. That's not getting T.J. Watt or Trey Hendricks in here. Would you be cool with that?
Yeah, but he makes you better. He's a professional pass rusher. So I don't. It doesn't mean that I won't still have concerns about it, but you're better with him. There's no question. You're better with him. I'm going to cling to Hendrickson until the Bengals actually sign him. So we'll see.
Dan Graziano on Unsportsmanlike this morning. Hoodie and I were in here listening. He said of T.J. Watt and Trey Hendrickson, and I'm trying to think, is there a third guy holding out?
I don't know if there's anyone holding out, but like Matthew Judon is available via free agency as well.
No, it wasn't talking about, it was holdout. It was Micah Parsons. Not holding out, but he's unsigned in terms of an extension. He said he's most confident Trey Hendrickson will get done first.
Well, they should. The Bengals just do business in such a crappy fashion. You know how much they cost themselves by not signing Jamar Chase the year before? Like they let it go and they let it go and they let it go, and then you pay more than you want to. And what a sin, a football sin for a team that doesn't want to pay you to begin with. Not only did they not get a bargain for him, which they could have probably, if they'd have signed him last year, they paid top of the market and they paid a premium because they waited. Idiots.
That's right. Tommy, I don't know if you've been asked. I don't know if I've ever asked you about your favorite Bear, because that's on this list too.
My favorite Bear leading up to last year, I was adamant about it and would tell anybody, was DJ, because you go up to Hallis Hall as soon as he got here and you watched it, always there. Mm-hmm. Some veterans, they tap out every now and again. They pace themselves. He was there every day, whether it was mandatory or not. Practiced his ass off every single day.
Yep.
You had to love what you saw from him on the field. That's why last year what I saw kind of left me a little unnerved. I thought his frustration level did affect his play. And that kind of was like a slap in the face to me. I'm not saying personally, but was kind of, hey, wake up, football fan. I think that'll be rectified this year. But he's always been my favorite player. But with last year in mind, I'll tell you the kid that I really think Rome Odunze is going to have a breakout second season. I think he's ridiculously talented. I think Carm had the stat yesterday, guys. I think he was third in the NFL in contested catch percentage. Problem was he also was like top 5 or 10 in, guys who were thrown uncatchable balls. Mm-hmm. And I just think that his combination of size and speed, he's a hand catcher. He's a really good route runner that I think kind of got away from him a little bit if you look at tape from last year. And I don't think Antoine Randall is going to stand for that. I think the best thing for him is going to be Antoine Randall as his coach, and Keenan's not here. And that's not a shot at Keenan. I told you guys all
He's still
last year.
unsigned, by the way.
He is, and he'll sign with somebody. But I just thought that Caleb looked to Keenan too often, and I think it kind of stunted some of Rome's growth. So I think this year I'm going to tell you that Rome's my favorite player.
He's waiting for Harbaugh or McVay to pick up the phone, Alan.
Yeah.
Right.
If he wants to play in Los Angeles or
he
retire.
Told me, I interviewed him, and I said, would you go to the East? He said, absolutely not. I will retire. I'm either going to play for the Bears or in L.A.
Or L.A.
That's
either team. He said, and that's what I was told too.
Yeah.
So I get that. So with DJ Moore, at times, guys, it was, what it was, Tommy, for me? It was kind of like, I'm going to run this route. I know the ball's not coming to me. I just want to get to the playoffs. That's the body language I got. I'm like, please. I feel like with Carolina and now with the Bears, I feel like I'm starting over, and I got to run this crisp route for this kid who never give me the ball. F this. I get it. I felt his frustration because,
and I think you pointed it out, if I'm not mistaken, quite a bit last year.
Yeah.
But I'm with you 100%. I think that the frustration affected his play, and I think that this year, I think there's two things. I think there should be some renewed optimism that all of the things that he hasn't been able to accomplish in the past will be on the table this year, and I think that they'll use him in the best way possible. And I don't think this coaching staff's going to take BS from anybody, regardless of your level of accomplishment. So, there were a couple of things that Ben Johnson said early on: no block, no rock. I'm not saying that was directed directly at DJ, but that's something that should resonate in the entire room. And he also said, look, it doesn't matter whether you're the first read, second read, third read, or fourth read. We're going to be watching. You're going to need to run your route as if you are the primary read on every play. So I think whatever frustration was on display last year, some of that will be quelled by the change.
Tommy, away from football, because we've
Talking
got
about the Cubs lost last night, Cap?
yeah.
Oh my God.
That's actually where I was going. Why do you say that with disdain in your heart?
I don't. I just your team's. You know what it is, Cap? It's envy because your team is really good, and my
Yeah.
team sucks.
Your team's not great.
No.
It's not. And the thing is,
but you
my
know
team
what?
will go out and add on. I'm not sure your ownership is all in like
No,
that.
they're not all in for anything other than taking, the limited number of fans who go into the ballpark, taking their money from them. I saw your Take That St. Louis shirts, like it. And I say anybody who's a Cub fan who's worried about the Cardinals, I think you need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, I'm not
Cardinal
worried about
team
the
doesn't-
Cardinals. The
Now, the
Brewers,
Brewers.
are good.
They can pitch.
Yes,
they can really. The Miz
Well-
was awesome last
Well
night.
managed.
Very well managed.
You
I
know-
like that guy.
You know, Mizorowski and that bullpen, no one threw under 98 miles an hour. I think that might be a record.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
smoke.
that's something.
Did you see the
Did you see that number? It's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Every guy.
And by the way,
it's the highest average in a game all time.
Shohei took him deep, but that was it.
That was
all
80.
they gave
Fan
up.
12. Did you see the interview with Pat Murphy during the game, the in-game interview? Did you
No,
see
I
it?
did not.
Okay, so he's doing – did you see it, Hoodie?
I did.
He's doing the interview, and while he's talking to them, whoever his hitter was hits one, and it looks like he's like, get out, get out. And then he drops the S-H-I blank because it got caught at the wall right on the interview.
T.
You know what? I think we're all, we were watching ball. I think you dropping a good, swear word's okay. I do.
I had no problem with it. Like the F-bomb, that would be a little offsides.
I don't even care about that.
But the other one, I thought it was hilarious. Hilarious. So
Yeah, the language thing is kind of an odd thing to me. I get it, but in some ways, but
Oh, it's an odd thing, huh? I can't wait to hear you drop it today, since it's an odd thing. You're just going to drop F-bombs on the show?
no.
Can't wait for that.
It's so funny though, Jonathan. I was even thinking about this morning. I've been doing this job, and I've been blessed to do it for 3 decades now, almost full time, since I retired in '95.
Yes.
And I've had some moments, and now I know I'm jinxing myself. But I'm surprised at because of my lack of discipline with some of my language around the house and some of the swear.
Oh, yes.
I'm surprised I haven't had more instances where I've had to be dumped or dumped myself.
You know
Don't
why?
you find yourself at some time going, I want word really bad?
I
right?
did probably a month ago. I dropped one. Hoodie looked at me, and he, Jay Moore, and Shay all dove for the dump button.
So here's the problem with me, Tom. There's a lot of problems with me. but one of the problems with me is when you do this and Sirius XM,
Yeah.
because I do both.
Yeah.
When you do Sirius XM, you have the freedom
Yeah.
to use those words. And then I'm sitting next to Cap. The only thing that reminds me not to swear is because I'm sitting next to Cap. If Cap was not here, I probably would be using that language because I'll forget that I'm not on Sirius XM. But Cap's here, and it reminds me, okay, got to be a little bit more buttoned up.
Wow, you look at Cap and feel
Yes.
like that's the feeling you get is, wow, I got to be more buttoned up.
On the air, yes. But off the air,
I bring that out in people, Tommy.
yeah.
That is great.
But off the air, though, I'm dog cussing him.
Me, yeah. Well, I'm not dog cussing him, but I swear all the time. It's just part of. I think it's just part of my everyday. And I gotta say, like my girls are now, they're all adults. They're not kids. They're 32, 29, 27, and 21. But they kind of grow up, and they don't. They know not to speak like sailors in public situations. They know when they can drop an F-bomb and when they shouldn't drop an F-bomb, but. They get some pretty colorful language as well. I don't know if that's a good thing or I think it's probably a bad
It is
thing.
what
I
it is
probably
because they're
shouldn't have said it on
quality
the air.
humans.
That's 2 Americas there in that spot because I don't think I ever swore in front of my mom.
I didn't either.
That's a tough spot. That's a generational thing.
I
You
didn't
know what
until
would
I
have
was an
happened,
adult.
Jonathan? My mom would have pulled that belt off my dad's waist and hit me with it.
Yeah, we
And,
never.
and of course, that belt was white.
My brother and I didn't swear until we were adults.
My dad wasn't
Around her.
Elvis. His belt matched his shoes.
He didn't have the Santa belts like Marty Brenneman. He didn't have that.
No, he always had like a nice leather belt that, oh. And my dad was such a, he was quiet and he would talk to you like this. And But my mom was just out of control.
Tommy, did your parent ever, when they spanked you, did they ever use like the words and spank with the words like, don't you ever do that again?
Of course. Yes. It was almost like she was singing a song.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Back to therapy.
Love her dearly, but like it was so funny, Jonathan. Like when I did something wrong, I knew what was going to happen. My dad would talk to me, my mom would run over and she would literally take his belt off of his waist because she knew he wasn't going to spank us. So she's like this has got to get done. I'm going to have to do it myself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's discipline right there, brother.
Yeah, it is.
The way it's supposed to be. America.
Yeah, well, that's why my brother and I have some issues.
By the way, Tommy, here's a little nugget for you to drop on the air today. The starting pitchers 45 years ago today in the All-Star game.
Oh, let me guess. What year was it? 45
1980.
1980.
I know. I'm not going to say.
Are we going to go with Jack Billingham?
Nope.
We going to go with Freddie Norman?
Nope. Not a Red.
A guy that
It
was
was an Astro.
and the guy that was
J.R. Richard.
James Rodney Richard.
someone who was dominant, by the way, when
was
he pitched
great.
out there. Good old number,
6'8", right? Was
good
he
old
like
number
6'8"?
32 is out there.
And number 32 of the Baltimore Orioles.
Was Jim Palmer.
Steve Stone.
Steve Stone. Okay.
How about that?
You know what I'm going to do, Tommy?
25 games that year.
Since you're
26.
you're going to be on later today. I'm going to send you that game on YouTube. I'm going to send you Steve Stone dominating in the All-Star game 1980.
Yep. And then looked up at the sky smiling. He said those were for his late parents.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Super
Just don't
cool.
send me the picture of Steve from that magazine where
Playgirl.
Playgirl
That's it.
with the rug on his chest.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you pardon the expression. All right, Tommy. As always,
Tommy, you have a great day, man.
that's right. We'll hear you with Peggy later on. So we look forward to hearing that.
Thank you for having me today.